unfortunately, it looks like the winter weather is coming with a snowstorm on the way this week. I couldn't have asked for a better vehicle to be testing. Today, we're going to take a look at a 2023 GMC Terrain Denali. So I'm going to take you, as always, a full tour around the car, interior, exterior, and then we're going to take it on the road, hopefully in the snow, and see how it drives. So let's start with some of the specs and numbers. This vehicle is available in all-wheel drive and also in front-wheel drive. It comes in two different trims separately. However, since this is the top trim, this is the Denali, it comes with both and the ability to switch between two-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. The engine in this GMC Denali is a turbocharged 1.5 liter four-cylinder that makes 170 horsepower and 203 pound-feet of torque. Pretty good. It's not the fastest thing in the world, and you'll see that in the driving, but you had to cut some corners somewhere. It also comes with a 9-speed automatic transmission, and the MSRP is 46,400 Canadian and 34,400 USD, and that is a very good price point to be in. So taking a look at the exterior first, we're on the front of the car. It's a very wide front end, as you can see, and a very small base, I find. It's kind of compact, but it's got a lot of room at the same time. You got that iconic red GMC logo in the front that we're all familiar with. Now, as you see as well, there is a lot of chrome on the front, but it does a really good job at splitting up the black color in it, or any color. It would do a very good job at splitting out and standing out with the front end, making it a little bit more aggressive. You have chrome on the bottom and a massive grille here that all has chrome as well. You'll also notice you got your daytime running LEDs, which are very nice. Also kind of make the body look wider, in my opinion, than it actually is. Looking up close, the headlights do make kind of a wider stance. So this car also has a parking camera in the front, which you can activate inside of the infotainment. It's got a lot of sensors and cameras all around the car. And again, in this price point, really, really nice to see that. I love the fact that that's there. Moving on to the side of the car now, I really like the way the side profile of this car looks with its 19-inch wheels. It's very nice looking. It's meant to have been driven in hard conditions, different conditions. It can handle anything, and it looks like that from the side profile to me. You have all four doors have a locking button, a one-press locking button. Not all cars have that nowadays, so it's a very nice touch to see. All four doors have a one-touch unlock button with them, and that's very cool. There's also chrome all along the bottom of the door here. Again, good job at splitting up the color, and it also says Denali right there. Special little thing for the Denali trim. Taking a look at the back of the car now, the first thing that I notice are these C-shaped headlights. We see these on a lot of modern vehicles today, particularly Honda is what stands out to me. I notice Honda kind of does the C-shape as well. Not a bad look though. Does give it kind of a rounded back front end. It is very hard to keep clean. You can see there's a lot of dirt buildup already, and I've only had the car for about 3 days at this point, and there's a lot of dirt already thanks to the winter. Nice GMC logo in the back too. Nothing special in terms of exhaust. Again, you got the chrome that splits up the color. Nothing too good. Trunk space is very good. It's very wide, very deep as well, so you got a lot of room in this car, and we'll see that when we check out the interior. So moving on to the interior now, where I think GMC focused their most of the efforts on. It's got perforated leather seats. It's a very nice job adding another color to the dashboard as well. So it's not all black. You've got a little bit of wood, a little bit of silver. It really does mix things up, and it makes it less of a boring interior. You have your Denali stitching on the seats, which is very nice as well. Dual zone automatic climate control, again in this price point, very nice to see that. Not always expecting to have that. Cooled front seats, again, very nice to have as well. Very good for having a good winter car and a good summer car if you're going to use it for both. The gear selectors are like small levers for your fingers. It's interesting, and it works well. I've never had any problems with it. You also have a little selector here that you can choose your two-wheel drive or your all-wheel drive. You can turn on your lane keep assist. All that stuff is right here in the center console. Very nice. The car also comes with an 8-inch infotainment display. The screen seems a little bit small for today's standards. Today we're usually seeing a little bit of a bigger screen, but it's acceptable because the software in it is so good. I've never had a lag once. It's so responsive and very smooth. It also comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Big plus there. It's wireless, might I add. Wireless or wired, very good. The wireless works nice, and it's very nice to have, again, in this price point. The one little pick I could say about the screen is that it's kind of slanted a little bit awkwardly, so touching things at the bottom of the screen can be like your finger kind of touches the bottom of the infotainment. It's a little awkward at times, but the infotainment also comes with Amazon Alexa and Spotify built into it, so you can actually download those apps. The car is kind of connected via 4G, kind of like Tesla is, and you can download certain apps that GM has on their app store, and you can download them right to the car and use them natively without having a phone connected. That is really cool. Speaking of Spotify, you have an 8-speaker Bose sound system, which sounds really, really good. You got a nice little place to wireless charge your phone down here in the center console, and it also keeps it steady. It's got these two little like rubber cushions that keep everything held in place nicely. And you have your 2 memory seats settings so that you can press 1 or 2 and it'll set your seatings depending on what driver is driving the car at that time. Very nice to have, and it's very nice to see GMC really have that included. Onto the rear of the car, the back seat. There is a lot of room in the back seat and an added plus, which again we don't see on a lot of cars in this trim level or even in this price point. We don't see them having heated rear seats. So to me, that just makes this the perfect road car for any weather, especially the winter, especially challenging conditions. If you live in Canada and you're challenged for conditions and it's not good half of the year, those rear seats, you can do a road trip any time of the year, no problem at all. It's got plenty of storage as well in the back seat as well as the front seat. No problems there at all. Very good job, GM. So at the beginning of the video, I mentioned that there was snow on the way this week. So we're going to take a couple days and we're going to wait for the snow to hit, and then I'm going to do the driving section in the snow and we'll see how it really handles. All right, 2023 GMC Terrain Denali on the road in the snow now. We were hoping for snow. I said I was hoping for snow at the beginning of the video, and we got it. So now I can actually tell you guys how this car performs in the snow. The roads are paved by this point. It's about midday, so you know I'm not in deep snow, but I was leaving the house. I was yesterday. It snowed in the morning going to work, and let me tell you right off the bat, this car is the one for the winter. I know that I think GMC maybe they probably do test their vehicles in the winter. I think they have a little bit better of an idea of what a North American winter, especially here in Quebec, is truly like, and this car just reflects that so well. Like, no, it doesn't have drive mode, so it doesn't have a sport mode or whatever, and you know, you get your 2-wheel drive and your 4-wheel drive. Currently I'm in 4-wheel drive because I am driving in changing conditions, and I have so much confidence in the car. I'm not worried about it sliding. I'm not worried about it slipping. I actually haven't lost traction once, not under braking or under giving it a little bit of gas. So absolutely no problem. And I mean, even I did get to drive this car as well on the dry roads, and the ride doesn't change. The ride is so good. It's such a high quality ride. I'm not worried about steering. Of course, there's body roll like there is with every SUV that we've driven, but again, the GMC cars are meant to be, or at least this GMC Terrain is really meant to be a utility vehicle more than a sports vehicle, I find. With 170 horsepower, yeah, it's got a bit of a kick. The turbocharge does help. I think it would be much slower without it, but you don't care about that. You just don't care at all, because you're going for safety, you're going for reliability, and you just know it's going to grip, right? We know it's going to grip with these tires, with good winter tires. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if the tires, obviously winter tires, you need them here in Quebec, it's mandatory, and I'd recommend if you do have snow to get winter tires, but I don't think it matters so much on the type, just because the drivetrain in this car is so good. This car also does have a off-road setting as well, which I can flip the dial here and turn it on to that. That I don't see myself using because I'm not an off-road driver, but it's fun if, you know, you take a day at the beach, or you're, you know, whatever, and even in the summer, and you need a vehicle that's going to handle different terrain. Well, this has a mode for it, and it's really, really useful. I could also see you using it in different types of ice, like if you're going from heavy snow to ice, or different bumpy snow, because you know when snow gets hard and stuff, it really does make bumps. So the off-road mode can help you get slowly through that, or maybe even just get unstuck if you ever manage to get this car stuck, because let me tell you, I don't see it happening. You know, again, you'd have to do something extraordinarily unintelligent for that to happen, so I don't see it. I want to talk about the gauge cluster because I don't think we mentioned it in the exterior tour or the interior tour. The gauge cluster is really cool. It's a good mix of digital and analog settings, or data anyways, and it gives you a lot of data. So like, I have my fuel economy up right now, I have my air filter life, which is at 80%, if anybody's interested. I have my tire pressures on all 4 tires. I can get oil life remaining, which is at 96%, again, if anybody's interested. Fuel range, and then you have your trips. I have a timer, which I don't get the part of the timer, because you're definitely not taking this car on the track unless it's like for like an off-road test, which would be cool to drive the one of the tracks in an off-road with this thing. I think you could really get the back end out of it if you turn the traction control off. If I give it just a little bit of gas here in all-wheel drive mode, just coming off a turn, you know, it's, again, definitely not fast, but I don't care. I didn't care when I first tried it, and I especially don't care now. It's just such a good winter car. I find the vehicle heats up very quickly, and the heated seats kick in very quickly, as well as the heated steering, and that's right built into the steering button too. You got a button right on your steering wheel, boom, you have it. I like the fact that the volume controls are behind the steering wheel. They're hidden very nicely. They didn't put any paddle shifters because, again, there's no need for it. So they made use of this empty space, and I like that as well. Everything in this car overall just feels good. It is the top trim, so I'm not sure how much the quality will come down as you go lower in trims, but I don't know. I feel like if you're looking for this car, I think the four-wheel drive version is the way to go here. I don't, unless you are in a better climate where it's not so snowy all the time, you could probably get it with a two-wheel drive because the space in this vehicle is still good. But if you live in Quebec especially, then I recommend that if you're in the market for one of these vehicles, spend the extra money for the four-wheel drive. You will absolutely not regret it, and your passengers and everybody you drive in here will not regret it either. This is, like I said in the beginning, a road trip car that you can road trip at any time. You know, the fact that it's a gas car, well, you don't have to worry about charging infrastructure. It's four-wheel drive. It can handle any weather. The conditions here have been changing all week, like we said. So, and it's handled it with the exact same. It hasn't changed the way I drive. I haven't had to adapt the way I drive at all, ever. It just drives the same way as I expected to. The sensors on the car did get covered a few times. There was one time where it said, "Oh, your front collision sensor is covered. Wash the steering wheel." And I'm assuming that once I wash the steering wheel, it also will spray the camera in the front as well, which is super nice thing to even for the infotainment to tell you, hey, wash it. That's really cool. And as soon as I did that, it did come back on, so that was really nice. Now, I did mention how this car is a gas car fully. It would be cool to see maybe a hybrid Terrain or a fully electric Terrain, and I know that for a fact that GM is doing electric stuff. You have the Chevrolet EVs, and you have the Hummer EV, which is a crazy car in itself. So I know that they have the technology. I know that they will have the knowledge on how to do it, and I'd love to see them bring it to this and the Yukon. It would just make everything so much better. Like this kind of thing, electric vehicle, you're not worried about gas, you're able to charge with a big enough battery. That's real competition. That's a real heavy hitter in the industry, I think. Before driving this car, honestly, I didn't even really look at GM as a serious contender, just because I've been driving Hyundais, Hondas, you know, different things like that. And then you kind of come over here to the GM side, and it will impress you. I can tell you that much. It will impress you. You aren't expecting the quality of it that is there, but you can tell that GM really has a good idea of what it's like to drive in North America, in climate weather, in weather that changes. And it's nice to know that. It's really nice to know that. I've even seen videos where GM tests their Corvettes in the winter. So just knowing that makes me confident that this manufacturer cares about my climate and what I have to deal with, because it's not fun. I mean, some people like the snow, you're snowboarders, whatever, but personally, I don't like it at all. And to know that I can have a car that's always going to be there and always going to drive well, that's really important to me. This car does as well have a heads-up display. I don't use it because it was the same kind of problem I had with the Kona. It was plastic, and the information's not that expansive. Like, it's not really, it'll show you like your speed, what direction you're heading in, your fuel level sometimes, and stuff like that. So it was really, I don't know, I just don't like the plastic feeling of it. And it's great because it rises right out of the dashboard. You don't need to have it. You don't need to turn it on. You can drive completely normal with it off. It doesn't take away anything. But if you want it, it's there. And again, in that price point, everything in this car for 46K Canadian, not bad at all. Really not bad at all. Like I said, the only reason I'm maybe not gonna buy this car is because it's not electric yet. Please, GM. But that's it. I mean, if maybe you don't care about the electric thing, you're gonna buy this car because the price point and everything you get, they went with that, you know, Hyundai Honda kind of thing where you get a lot more for a lot less. And I don't feel like the quality has suffered so much. I mean, they did cut corners with the engine. It's not that fast, but again, you're not buying this car. You're not buying this car to go fast. You're buying this car because You like to feel planted in the winter, and it does that exceptionally well. This car also does come with lane keep assist, the front forward collision warnings and everything like that. The one thing that this car does that I find very, very interesting with the front collision, and even in the rear and the parking sensors and everything that it has, when it notices that something gets too close, where it doesn't think that you're going to brake in time, it like flashes a red light in the heads-up display if you have it on. If not, it just flashes a red light in your screen, in your windscreen, and it vibrates the seat. I found that so weird, and it's very strange when it first happens, because you're like, wait, what is going on? Why is my seat vibrating? But then after a while you get used to it, and you actually find it kind of helpful, because you could be looking in one direction and not notice, and then your seat vibrates, and you're like, okay, I'm close to something, I must be, because my seat's vibrating. That was really a really cool feature. I've never driven a vehicle that's done that before. None of the other vehicles we've had on the channel have done that, so it's really interesting to see that this vehicle is the one to do that, and again, in that price point, very nice to have. So we're gonna I'm noticing a little area that's not so plowed right yet. Because I want to rip it just a little bit. Here we go. Drive it in here. It's a corner, so I'm not gonna go too fast, but ooh yeah, no problem at all. I really did kind of force it there, but yeah, it doesn't complain at me. It doesn't scream that like, hey, I'm not gripping. It was just like, okay, well, you're gonna drift a little bit, and that's fine. And that's fun to do, right? Like, it's not so much plowed here. So again though, like, I have traction. Even in braking, I have traction. In heavy ice, I think I'll still have traction. You know, I really enjoy the way that this car moves. Again, here I got a little bit of snow here. Yeah, there you go. Slight bit of understeer on that one, but I really put the power there, so I can't really blame the car there. But yeah, it just goes. And if you're being careful, you're not gonna slip, right? Like, I'm pushing it, so you know, you're not gonna slip at all. Another thing too is it does have that auto start stop feature. I think a lot of the GM cars do have that, and it's fine. I mean, I don't turn it off because I'm not bothered by it, but I know some people are. But it does have an option that you can turn it off, but I think you have to re-turn it off every single time you get in the vehicle. It's just a thing. It's not a big deal. Personally, I don't notice it too much, and it seems a bit random. Like, I keep trying, like when I come to like a full stop, if it's like measured on how hard I press the brake, but not really. It just kind of does it like whatever it wants. There's not really a time that it does it. The parking sensors in this car too are absolutely really good. I mean, you can have like all types of camera angles. You have a 360 camera angle. You can have like a tow angle, everything. You can see all parts of the car. Like I said, the parking sensors are really great. All that stuff it just works well. Everything just works well in this car. And I think that's gonna do it for today. It's snowing. We got to test this car in the snow, so I'm very happy about that I got to test it in both conditions. And again, it has excelled in both conditions. It is a serious contender. I am in the market for a new car. My lease is up this year. It's a serious contender because it is a four-wheel drive. I do feel very safe in it, and it's a very serious contender for this year. So I'm gonna be taking a good look at it and really enjoying the rest of the time that I have this week with the car. With that being said though, I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, or if you're in the market for a GMC Terrain Denali, you let us know in the comments. We'll answer whatever questions we have. Me and Niall are always in the comments. We always try to get back to people as soon as we can. And with that being said, I just want to take the time to, if you're watching this during the holiday season, to just wish everybody the happiest of holiday seasons, the happiest of New Year. I hope you guys accomplish everything, and thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for accepting me into the PRN family. It's, you know, I get nothing but positive comments and stuff like that, and your feedback is always welcome. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Take care.